reason that we're sharing this particular research that we did is because we get asked about this group a lot at Twitter. So I wanted to do a few things here. I wanted to share with you this updated research that we have on this group specific to Canada, and then run through three takeaways with some case studies as well. So I think for Twitter, it was sort of born out of inherently millennial needs, right? So it's all about speed, it's about information, and it's about this authenticity that we've talked about as well, and that's going to really resonate on the platform. So it's often, when we talk about the language of Twitter and the language that's being spoken on the platform, obviously the hashtag has become ubiquitous. It's a language that millennials obviously understand. So we're just going to take a look first at, how are millennials using these different platforms? And I should say too, Twitter invented the hashtag, so we're gonna take claim for that. You'll see them everywhere now. So how are millennials using the different platforms? Well, they're turning to them for different purposes, right? So Facebook, probably no surprise, is a place for a cure for boredom. It's going to be within your circle. You're going to find out what people are up to. On Snapchat, it's all about fun. So people want some frivolous, again, a sort of cure for boredom as well. But it's again from that private circle. Instagram is a lot about pretty things and photos, as we've heard, and YouTube very much for entertainment. And Twitter, as we found through this research as well, is very much about discovery in the public forum. So folks are going there to find out what's happening now, and it is all about people that they know and that they don't know. So their followers are just as likely to be friends as someone that they don't know, but they may share common interests. So that's kind of just how we framed how they're looking at the different platforms right now. This audience is huge on Twitter. There's no doubt about that. Half of Canadian millennials are on our platform when we take a look at Twitter. And when we look at what they're interested in, bit of an eye chart, but they are interested in movies, or interested in sports, or interested in news, but they're interested in different points of view across the board. So we'll talk later on about how Twitter's sort of their modern day newspaper, but they want different perspectives. They just don't want one perspective, and they want to share their perspective on what's happening as well. It's also, I think, interesting to note that they are evangelists for these things. So I think that's where there's a really interesting play here for brands and sponsorships, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later on. This is what I spend a lot of my time doing, is getting the great content on Twitter. There's 1.2 billion video views that happen on Twitter every day. I don't feel that enough brands actually know about that. But Twitter's become not only just the natural second screen while you're watching TV or following along on Twitter. We've all done that during whether it's a reality show or a sporting event. But it's also the first screen. So as I was mentioning earlier, that we're actually going to have, by the end of this quarter, by the end of the year, we will have streamed 2,000 hours live on Twitter of content. The majority of that is sports. It started off in Q1 with we did about 800 hours. So definitely people are coming to Twitter for what's happening, and there's lots of live content going on. And then I think they're also, sort of just cementing what I said earlier in terms of what are they tweeting about. So they actually come to our platform. 8 out of 10 who identify as millennials actually tweet something. So these are heavy users. So kind of going back to those evangelists, they can be evangelists for your brand as well. They love to talk about their opinions. Again, it's not a one-way conversation. They're definitely getting involved in the news, the current events of the day. I think this is really important when we talk about evangelists. The average millennial on our platform, has over 250 followers, right? So this is a way that your message can go viral, right? So they're going to spread it just beyond their core sort of group of friends. So they're, again, people that they know and they don't know are going to be influencers. And again, kind of going back to this discovery mindset, they're using social media in that way to discover new things. They're going there to verify that they want to buy a new product. They want to know what people are saying about it. So they actually have a very personal relationship, too, with the brands that they follow on Twitter. So that's where this brand personality, and Melissa was talking about how Freshie uses it, that's where the brand personality is going to be so important in cultivating that image on Twitter. We were also talking about this before. I don't know if you guys heard the news about KFC and who they're following on Twitter. So they're actually following, it was discovered by another user, 11 herbs and 5 Spice Girls. So there's five Spice Girls and the 6 herbs. I got to get that right. So 11 herbs and spices was the joke. But again, that's something that they did kind of very clever, playing up their brand personality on the platform. So it's just, if you sum it all up, it's more than just about being social. But it's really, Twitter's not a yearbook either. It's more about information. So this is what we find, that obviously they're going there for the latest news. They're using Twitter to follow television shows. They're using it to get everything cultural. That's what they're going to the platform for. So brands can certainly leverage this. So this is where we talk about the 3 takeaways and our recommendations in terms of what we've seen from the data and how people are using the platform. So definitely be a part of trending and breakout moments. So the second recommendation, elevate your brand to celebrity status. So we saw on that big chart of interests, celebrities, one of the biggest things that people go to Twitter for. And so how can you do that? Let's talk about a few ways. This is one of the stats that I like to reference a lot because I work on sports. And it applies to celebrities as well, that fans would actually value a retweet or a like from a hockey player or athlete, celebrity. They actually value that more than an autograph. So this speaks to, I'm often asked, what's the value of a follower, right? So this is that actual personal connection that they have, and it's on that level of when they get a reply or just a simple retweet or a simple thank you, it means a lot to them. So there's an emotional value to that, so keep that in mind. There's also, I think, a lot around emerging technology and what we're seeing with how we're able to use the platform and across social media with AI and how we can respond to people. And I think that we've seen tremendous lift when we've got direct messaging bots now that simply just tell people information that's useful to their lives. So we want to add value, right? So it's just even like United Airlines is using one where they're just telling you if your gate's changed or if your flight is delayed. They're just going to tell you that in a DM. You're going to be upset, and you're going to, probably send some rageful DMs back to them. But at the end of the day, we found that the research shows that you're actually going to feel better because you've had a conversation about it and that you were updated. So there's some tremendous use cases for that. Twitter, obviously, it's we feel it's the the easiest way, the quickest way to get this type of information. No one likes being stuck on the phone for half an hour. These days, people aren't using their phone for conversations a lot. Unless it's something really super serious, then you're jumping on a call. This is just quick and easy. It's frictionless. So the other thing that has been mentioned before and really resonates with us is just the ability to rally behind a cause, stand behind a cause. We've seen Twitter specifically be a pretty powerful platform for that. There's a tremendous campaign with Dove that we have all kinds of information on that I'll point you to on our website. But essentially, it was changing the conversation around body image. And they actually saw huge lifts in conversation positively around this using the platform. I really like this one, which is Restart a Heart, which kind of used the platforms natively. That's the other thing that really we've seen brands drive home is like use each platform how it's supposed to be used natively. And this one really used our platform that way, and it was just raising awareness around cardiac arrest and sort of the what you need to know to prevent this. And essentially what you did was you liked this tweet and you got one of 2 responses to it. One that was that you were lucky and one that you weren't so lucky, to raise awareness around it. And tremendously creative campaign. It increased their awareness and all the metrics that they were measuring. To Melissa's point around, you have to measure it. Their measurement here was spot on. It actually was kind of interesting. People were liking and unliking the tweet because they wanted to see what different answer they would get. So there was also this very creative element to it. And then definitely 3 is like win with live events. So there's a huge opportunity there for brands. You can bridge the gap between the on-site and what's happening online, right? So you can definitely take people to an event who aren't there. This is an example at Osheaga with Coke doing some content with Deer Rouge. We also just had on the weekend on Sunday, we had Scotiabank Toronto Waterfront Marathon live streaming on Twitter, which was tremendous. We had over 165,000 live viewers. And so, yeah, just wrapping up, just taking a quick recap of sort of our 3 takeaways. So definitely an opportunity to be part of those trending and breakout moments. Think about how you can take advantage of the live moment. Elevate your brand to celebrity status. And as we've seen, there's tremendous opportunities during live to leverage social.